Hello and welcome back to Operations with Void. This week we're not doing a tech tree ship, we're going to use the premium that I have been running a lot as of late, Yudachi. She is a Shiratsuyu class destroyer. The big difference is she gets both smoke generator and a torpedo reload booster instead of having to choose between one or the other. And her torpedoes are a much slower torpedo but have 15-kilometer range. And I believe she has worse guns than Shiratsuyu. So that's basically her gimmicks. Basically, yes, a torpedo boat. And so what we're going to be using her in is Aegis, which is arguably the best operation for destroyers, and Aegis also goes a lot better as long as there is one destroyer in the team. So with that short explanation, and then we'll get into the operation. Now, Aegis is pretty simple. You are going to intercept enemies who have captured allied transports. You are going to face first wave coming, spawns about here, maybe 20 seconds after the match starts, and this point is where you want to sink them all. Second wave spawns up here a few minutes into the battle, and they follow this line down over here. And so the best point of intercept is usually up here. And then there's the convoying ships with the transports will spawn up here, follow this line down south. Now the red squares on here, if the convoying ships get all the way down here, or a player comes up, I think the box extends a little bit over here. If a player goes into this area before all the convoying enemies have been destroyed, then there is a wave of 3 battleships that I believe do not give XP, and they will spawn, and they are higher tier than any of the other enemies. I believe it still spawns a Yamato, and a Magi, and a Nagato, but there might be an Izumo in there. I am not sure because I haven't spawned it as of recently. Anyways, once the convoying ships are destroyed, the convoys will go to this point, which is the exit. If you destroy all the convoying ships quickly, they go in the most direct route to the exit, so that puts them at possible fire from the final enemies that all spawn up here, with the exception of the 2 battleships that spawn over here. So usually you want to kill them here or a little bit later so that they can go through the islands to the exit and not be shot at by the enemies so much. Anyways, with that, let's go into the battle. Now, because we're using Yudachi and we have the torp reload booster, or if I was using Shiratsuyu or Kagero, they also have the option to use the torp reload booster. We have the option of loading our torps early. For ships like the Akatsuki, the torpedoes reload in time that you don't need to worry about not having it. But by reloading the torps early, we can throw torpedoes at the first wave fairly early on. Now here I'm looking at the Fuso to try and gauge how long it's going to be so I can know about when to throw torps. Same with the Mutsu. And here I'm stopping here just to be able to throw torps because they're well within range. Even with the 10-kilometer torps, they should be about within range, although you might need to get a little bit closer. Because it'd probably just be a dead range. Yudachi, thankfully, has the 15-kilometer torps, so I don't have to worry too much about range. Now, this is actually a pretty bad first wave to face with 2 Akizukis and 3 battleships, because that's a lot of HP pool, and the Akizukis have a lot of DPM. However, Aramono was lucky enough to detonate one of the Akizukis, allowing the DPM to drastically decrease for the enemy. But other than sending out the torps, because we are a torp focused boat and 9-second reload on 5 127mm barrels. There's not a lot of damage output to be able to do with the guns. So we get to watch our torps hit. And so now we're going back over here because we need to start focusing on the enemies. I was hoping for more torp hits, but unfortunately we only got 2. Maybe fortunately, we at least got 2. So for the second wave, there are 2 ways to do it. Strategies to do it. You could do what I'm doing, which is look at the 2 ships with the most HP and throw some torps over there. If you have multiple tubes or you didn't use your torpedo reload booster, you can reload boost, and if you send 2 sets of torpedoes at 81 cruiser, that should be enough to kill it. Honestly, I should have sent torpedoes at the Alba, because then the torpedoes would have hit both the Alba and the Furutaka. And if I had done that, two sets at the Alba, probably both of those ships would have sunk. But instead I focused on Myoko's because they had the highest HP pool, and I'm wanting the enemies to be easier to kill for my allies, so maybe if they get a lucky citadel or 2, it's an insta-delete for the enemy. Since these torpedoes are slow, it's probably not, I'm probably not going to be able to throw them at the cruisers. And realizing this, I moved to get into position to torpedo the Fuso. And here I'm waiting for all the torpedoes to reload. And since the torpedo reload booster is about to come off cooldown, we're going to use it for the Fuso. If I had used the torpedo reload booster earlier instead of waiting a few seconds, then it would have come off cooldown faster, and I could have thrown the torps. Yeah, more torps faster. Either way, that many torps in the water, the Fuso should be dead, so don't have to worry about it too much. I just get to watch the pretty fireworks. And there, the Shores has died, but because the cruisers are at low HP and they're about to be deleted, it's pretty, and all of the rest of their team is in one place, it's fairly safe to go out and rescue the Shores. One ship will normally need to be near Shores just to pick it up. And there we go. Even if the third torpedo in that section didn't hit, the flooding would have killed the Fuso. So now we're actually moving to do torps on this Alba. Because the torps are slow enough and the ships are fast enough. We can get a torp salvo that way. And I only sent one rack. I was hoping to get more on the Miyoko, but instead what I'm deciding to do is to just go up north and get into position for the battleships. If the entire team was not currently still alive, I would have gone back to help deal with the transport ships. Because while we are being up north, that would spawn. I would be in a good position to help deal with the battleships up north. I wouldn't be helping win the game. And wins are more valuable than just getting damage. But in this case, because we still have our full team, then the convoying ships aren't long for this world, and so we can go up and start to get into position for the battleships. Now, the battleships, they have variable spawn. The 2 Nagatos, as they are now, will spawn closer to the 4 line, or they could spawn one on the 4 line, one on the 5 line, or they can both spawn on the 5 line, and that makes it difficult to spawn camp them. So what I prefer to do is to sit back, see where they spawn, and react that way to be able to send more accurate torps later. Now, because I do have a smoke screen, I could have tried spawn camping and used the smoke to disengage. But for ships that don't have smoke screen and have torpedo reload booster, say the normal Shiratsuyu, if you choose torpedo reload booster, that's not really a choice. And here, I'm actually sitting back because the ships have spawned on the west side, the 4 line, so they will turn in, and since I'm not quite sure how fast they will turn in, I'm waiting to see what they're doing before throwing torps. Now I'm throwing torps one at each of them, because what the first torp Ito rack should do is get a flooding, and then when the bots have a single flooding, by players often too, they will use their DCP. And it's a 15-second use. Once the damage control party is down, then you can get another flooding. It will be permanent. So I'm using smoke here because I want to use my guns to set fires. And for hybrid destroyers, like the Pan-Asian destroyers, which also have torpedo reload booster at tier 8, I think, then you can use your guns here too. For ships that don't have torpedo reload booster, a way to guarantee flooding is to set fire first and then do torpedoes. But in this case, the Nagato is dead. Even more so with the bombs dropped from our Nebraska. So now there's only one secondary ship, objective ship to sink left, which is the Amagi. They are currently in our torpedo range. Wow. Their heading is already in our torpedo range. So I'm using the lines. Seeing this, I decide to throw torpedoes out early because I have the 15 kilometers of torpedo range For ships with 10 or less, then you obviously need to get closer. I actually did not need to send out torpedoes this time, and I probably... But it's better safe than sorry. Since there's only... When you go up north and take care of the battleships, if you're not in a division, then what you do is you force your teammates to focus on the last remaining battleship. And the forced focus fire helps with getting that objective completed. And in this case, the Myoko over there needs to be focused fired because he's the closest to the transport ships. He's not only spotting them, but also shooting at them, I believe. But we do have a battleship close, and I believe some other of our ships are shooting at it. And there, Nebraska deleted that one as well. So we're sending more torps out. But unfortunately, these torps aren't even going to make it before the time runs out. And there, the operation complete. And the torp reload booster would be just finished reloading now. So using the torp reload booster at the very beginning is not an issue at all. Anyways, almost 300k damage here with 25 torpedo hits. And we're top of the board, which is very common for Destroyer in this operation. Anyways, that is it for today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. If there's a ship that you would like me to feature or an operation, please let me know. I'll do my best. Otherwise, I hope you have a good day, and I will see you next week. And also, feel free to like, subscribe, whatever if you want, or don't. I'm not your mother.